Bushinji Iratakwa, Ninon Giai, Lenapeoki. Well, going to walk in, on going to walk in. First of all, I want to thank you, Rich, for giving us an opportunity, not just now, but going back to 2016. You were one of the first people to give us an opportunity to share our story with people. I also want to acknowledge my family over here. Please stand up. And also, from my close friends, we represent a family that is a pre-contact family. I descend from not only the indigenous Lenape of Monmouth County, I also descend from some of the first Africans that came into the Monmouth County area, and I descend from some of the first Europeans that came here. So we represent the remnants of the indigenous nations that were left behind. Majority of the remnants that were left behind because we were had an admixture. And because we had an admixture, we could blend in as either black or white. So you have a lot of families that are still here that are tied directly into their indigenous nations. We still have ties to what is known as the Delaware Nation out in Oklahoma. We're not a part of that nation, we're cousins of them. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that we have an admixture. And I know there's a lot of confusion about people trying to claim who the original tribes are, who the original natives are. The confusion comes from the traditions of each clan. Each clan has a different tradition. So many of the clans that intermix with people of African descent, with Europeans, these were more traditional clans who looked at human beings as human beings, not as races or colors. So a lot of the confusion comes from what you have is some of the older clans who would be traditionally considered like the turtle clans. They were the clans responsible for tradition. So many of those clans are going to be the ones that intermarried with Africans as well as Europeans. So you're going to have a remnant of those clans. Those clans are the oldest clans. So the confusion is that the families that are of African descent are of blood relation to the oldest native families, and that has a lot to do with tradition. So I don't want to get too much into it. I thank you for giving us the opportunity. Thank my family for coming out, and you do a great job, bro. You've shown integrity your entire trip, and that's why that's why I stand here with you. So I appreciate that.
Quick question: what do you think we should do moving forward? You know a lot about your family heritage, and a lot of us, including myself, I know a lot about what I read in a book. So there's a difference between which I read a lot in a book. I know about the ancient Egyptians and shit like that. You know a lot about your family heritage. What advice would you give to us? Because we don't trust DNA tests and shit like that. So what advice would you give to the people who are reading books and we don't know what you know? What advice would you give to us if we don't trust the DNA test, my brother?
So I would say this, real quick, two things. A lot of the things that was told to my family by even other family members were lies that were told to them by people who were really trying to kill family members who acquire the land of that, right? So you can't believe everything that's written in books, that's written in these records. Most of our ancestors would have had their own records. You gotta find your way back to finding your family's records. A lot of them were probably in the old churches. I don't know how people feel about religion, but churches served a different purpose for our ancestors than it does for what we know the church's modern times. And in terms of DNA, I'm gonna tell y'all now, I got my DNA done, right? And my DNA confirms everything that my family history has been telling us.
Where did you go to?
Ancestry, we got it done with Ancestry. So my cousin Carrie, she's really the one who's at the forefront of this. We're also in the midst of fighting a court case with the borough of Tinton Falls for our burial grounds that they buried over 2,000 remains in our burial grounds. So there's a lot of things going on. So for really what we would like for people to do is to really embrace what your truth is, right? And understand that we all grew up under this, we all, like, black is an experience. Whether you light skin, you dark skin, whatever, we all grew up under this experience. Whether I have Lenape ancestry or not, we all grew up in the same communities, the same environments, under the same experiences, and we should be able to figure our way out together, regardless of what our spiritual beliefs are, what our national backgrounds are. So I would just like for everybody to come together and try and help heal, because we all are on a journey for healing, right? That's what this knowledge is supposed to do, brings back to our true selves. So as we all here, I think we all should be cognizant of everyone else's journeys, be more aware, you know what I mean? But what's important is really to find out your truth, you know what I mean? It's really that simple. Find out your exact truth. Don't rely on what the history books tell you unless you can confirm it based on your own history. It's a lot of misunderstandings and mistruths, things that have been presented to us in a slighted way, you know what I mean? And it's a matter of getting a little more information and then taking a look at the history as it's been presented to us. So, thank you again.
Thank you, my brother. I want to talk real quick to my brother Mike. This brother,
I came a long way from the dirt. I was a lost stray on the search, trying to ignore pain, but it hurts. Negative thoughts making it worse. I was like Kanye in the crash. I feel like God gave me a curse. Now I know God gave me a gift. Feeling like Kanye in the church. I came a long way from the dirt. I was a lost stray on the search, trying to ignore pain, but it hurts. Negative thoughts making it worse. I was like Kanye in the crash. I feel like God gave me a curse. Now I know God gave me a gift. Feeling like Kanye in the church.
With her. Quick story. Let me tell you a real quick story before we go to the next track.
Stop playing with me.
That track came about. That's it. The aggression in that track. Cam knows it. Cam was in my house at the time. Yo, I got into an argument.
Right down the street. Right down the street.
Right down the street. 2 blocks away. I got into an argument with my girl.